Shalom, 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 Yasha'Allah. This your boy, Brother Samuel, or Shamuel, right? Coming back at you with another quick edifying video, right? Today's lesson is going to be called Stand in the Midst of Elders, right? First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Kahala Yahawah, Bahasham, Mashiach Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash, right? That's all praises to the Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, and his only begotten Son's name, who you ignorantly call Jesus, whose name is Yahawashi, right? In the Rawchaa Qadash, right? Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone from Tahar on down, who have ruled well to the Spirit and have fed and edified the sheep in these last days, and has pushed this gospel and this truth to the four corners of the earth, right? So, like I said, today's lesson is going to be called Stand in the Midst of the Elders. Stand in the midst of the elders. And I can kind of speak for myself and the brethren that I labor with. I know we've come through a journey, to seek out the true knowledge and understanding. And we were, me and the brethren, we were hungry, right? We were hungry in the spirit. We wanted to be fed. What does the scripture say? It says, let's get that real quick. Sirach 15:3, right? It says, with the bread of understanding shall she feed him and give him the water of wisdom to drink, and coming into this truth, right? You want to be fed, man, right? Because as a baby, you want to be fed, and you want to be, in taking this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and like I say, throughout our journey, we have, been places where, hey, it was the lack of bread, right? It was the lack of water to drink, and it was to a point where, we were being told that we were doing too much exhortations. Brothers is doing too much. We wanted to do our own lessons. We would read, we would get a book. We started with the book of Genesis, right? And started reading it together and getting our understanding and just holding our own, weekly insights on this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? But Yahawah had mercy upon us, man, and showed us the way, right, of where we could cleave to, and we believe, that Great Millstone from Tahar on down, that these are the real men of the Lord, right, and they have that true understanding, and we got to give them the double honors that they are worthy of, So I'm just going to go over a few scriptures, Lord's will, this is edifying, So let's get into it, right? Let's go to 1 Timothy, right? 1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse number 17. And it reads, it says, let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine, right? And these brothers in GMS, man, I mean, you talk about laboring. I'm talking about, and what's crazy is, at first, brothers was just like, nah, we, you want to feel it. You had to humble yourself, and actually see what's going on, we was celebrating, Friday, Saturday, sundown, as the Sabbath. We was doing all that, man. You know what I mean? We was, new moon party every new moon and every feast day. We was doing all that, But, once we had, and brothers was just going, listening from this camp to that camp, to this camp to that camp. And, the brother came to us and was like, yo, man, we need to be on one accord, and I remember him saying that he was basically, I'm just paraphrasing. He was like, man, a house divided cannot stand, and that brother was completely right because, at one point we had a lot of brothers and we was deep, you know, but the house divided could not stand because guess what? Some brothers wanted to, watch this camp. Some brother wanted to watch that camp, and ultimately we had to be on one accord, right? And that one accord was to be under this true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, this real truth, this 100% truth, from the elders of GMS, and we came to that understanding. And when that happened, we lost a lot of brothers, who, some just couldn't get into the doctrine, but, Yahawashi said, paraphrasing, hey, if you ashamed of me, I will, you deny me, I will deny you and your father, right? You can't be ashamed of these scriptures. Yahawashi is the scriptures. He is the word of the Most High. When you say that you're ashamed of the doctrine, you're ashamed of these scriptures, and you're ashamed of Yahawashi, man. So, but ultimately, Yahawashi basically, sifted down, and now, the brothers that I labor with, hey, man, we follow, under the elders of GMS, man, from Tahar on down. And it's been like a breath of fresh air, man, right? You're getting fed constantly, right? You're getting that bread of knowledge and that wisdom of understanding the drink, man, right? You're getting fed. We're getting drink. We're getting fed, man, and it's a beautiful thing, right? So I'm gonna read this again. This is Salakia for going off on that diatribe, but this is 1 Timothy chapter 5 verse 17. It says, "Let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and in doctrine." And you cannot. Not one day have I seen that the elders and apostles have not put out a video, and if not more than one, and sometimes not more than and not less than two, right? I'm talking about constantly. I'm constantly subscribing to new, GMS channels, man, because there's just so much wisdom and knowledge and understanding, man. It's amazing, man. Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, right? So let's get this right. So like I say, today's topic is going to be called "Stand in the Midst of the Elders." Let's go to this. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 6, and let's go to verse number 34, right? And it says, "Stand in the multitude of elders and cleave unto him that is wise," right? And that's what brothers have done, through, the Most High moving pieces and showing us the way, that we cleave to the elders, right? Unto them that are wise, right? Because they have this true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man, in these last days. It said, "Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parable of understanding escape thee," right? And the thing about it is, with the apostles and elders, Tahar and Elder Gabar and the Ramlab, right? When they break down these scriptures, and Elder Gabar, they all have different ways of teaching, and you get that understanding, and it's like I say, it's a refreshing thing to be able to hear the words and be able to understand, how they break it down, they make it plain upon tables, so it's like that's how I want to be when I grow up. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make these scriptures as plain as possible, so people can understand, man. Right? So that my people, man, the Israelites can understand this stuff. Right? It says, "Be willing to hear every godly discourse, and let not the parable of understanding escape thee." Right? And they break down those things, and where they make it where it's easy to understand. Right? And it says, verse number 36, "And if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes him unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door," right? And that's what you got to do. You got to, you see that man of understanding, of wisdom going in that direction, you need to follow him in that direction. It says follow basically in his footsteps, Where he walks, you walk, and that's how we got to do it, you know, and you get that understanding, and it's crazy, I can count on it. I wake up in the morning and hey, either a Ramlab, Tahar, or a Gabar, and they doing a lesson, right? And I can, on my way to work, I can listen and do it, and I see brothers laboring in their footstep, right? Even the brothers that I labor with, right? One of the brothers I labor with, man, hey, goes hard, man. He be doing 3-4 videos a day, following in the footsteps, man, and that's a beautiful thing, There's a few brothers that do that, So, but it says, and if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. It says, let thy mind be upon the ordinance of Yahawah Bahasham Shai, and meditate continually in his commandments. He shall establish thine heart and give thee wisdom at thine own desire. You follow that man of wisdom, right? And you be along it so much that you tend to pick up, on the attributes and the things, and you can gain that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because you're seeking it genuinely. You're seeking that sincerely and diligently, and sometimes, when you listening and stuff, and brothers go off, I know I went off, and had to be corrected. But when you sit and when you watch these videos of the elders, man, all you could do is just shut your mouth and just listen, and just listen. What is that? What is that? Ecclesiastes 5:1. It says, "Keep thy foot when thou goest into the house of the Most High, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, but they consider not that they do evil." Right? So when you're in the presence of the word, and it's coming out and it's being broken down to that understanding, and to that level of because I don't consider myself I can still consider myself a babe, and the way that they break it down is they take that meat and they blend it up, and so I'm able to partake in it, So I must be quiet when these words and these scriptures come out, that the elders bring out, But I want to get this too. This is Proverbs, right? Chapter 17 and verse number 28, and it says, "Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise, and he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding." So sometimes you just got to be quiet, man, when you're in the presence, right? Especially when you're in the presence of the elders, right? And listen to them, and listen to the wisdom and knowledge that they're bringing out, right? Because it says, especially those who labor in the word and doctrine, and that's what they bring out. They're bringing out this word and this doctrine, man, this true doctrine, this true understanding. And you got to absorb it. You got to be like a sponge and absorb this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Okay. And that's why it's important to stand in the midst of the elders. You got to stand in the midst of the elders. Let's get this right. Let's go to the book of Job, right? Chapter 8 and verse number 8. And it reads, it says, "For I inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to search of their fathers." Right? And who can tell you about your forefathers, right? But the elders, right? The elders who can break down these scriptures and give you that understanding, right? I had this Bible, in front of me, man, for my whole life, and didn't have understanding of it. And just now, recently, right, and within the past few years, that this is able to be opened up to me and giving me the understanding of my forefathers, and understand that, these scriptures, when you read them now, man, and they open up as a 3-dimensional, thing, and you can kind of see in them when you walk it. Like I'm reading the book of Genesis right now, right? When Jacob is about to go meet Esau, right? And I can just, when I read it, man, I can it's like my soul is jumped into that page, and I can see it, man. I can see Jacob, sending out, hey, I'm gonna send out a little band real quick. I'm gonna take the wife and the kids. Y'all gonna go across the river, right? And we gonna send them in drones. We're not gonna send everybody together because we don't know what Esau about to do. You know what I mean? But you can feel these scriptures, man, and you get that understanding, especially when you know that this is talking about your forefathers, and that guess what? This wisdom, knowledge, and understanding was given unto you, and no one else, right? Let's go to the book of Romans, right? Book of Romans, Romans chapter 15, right? And verse number 4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." Right? But how do we know that, right? Somebody had to break it down to us, right? Like the what was that? The eunuch, The eunuch, I believe, in the book of Acts, when he said, "How can I learn it except someone teach me?" And you have to be taught, right? You can't lean to your own understanding on these scriptures. You got to be taught by someone, and the Most High has set up those teachers to do that, where you don't need to lean onto your own understanding, and he's taught the elders well, and they can break down these scriptures, man, to a T and to a point of understanding, man, right? It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." Right? And that's the main thing that that we're getting at. We get this understanding, and now when we can read it, we can see, and we have hope, But it's just the breaking down of the scriptures and giving us that true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding through the spirit and power of Yahawashi. Okay. Let's go to Deuteronomy, right? And this is gonna kind of go with Job 8:8. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse number 7, right? It says, "Remember the days of old, consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. It says, thy elders, and they will tell thee," right? And that's why it's important to sit in the midst of the elders, right? Because they will tell you the things of old. They will tell you about your past and your history, right? And what's to come, right? And the prophecies of what's to come. And they break it down and make it plain upon tables, And that's very important, right? And that's why, me and my brethren, we cleave, right, unto GMS, man, and the elders, from Tahar on down, because they have that understanding, and they have broken this stuff down through the power and spirit of Yahawashi, right? And they will tell thee, right? They will show us the way. Like I say, man, the brothers do lessons every day. These elders, they do lessons every day, right? It's a beautiful thing, right? Let's go to this, right? Let's go to the book of Hebrews, Hebrews 13 and verse 17. And it reads, it says, "Obey them that have rule over you, and submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they might do it with joy and not with grief." Right? For that is unprofitable for you. Right? So and like I say, these elders, man, of GMS, and they're sincere about it, right? And they want to give you this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? And that's a mighty responsibility, right? To have over the body, where you are breaking down this true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and it's a true thing, man, to keep people's souls, from the hellfire, this lake, and constantly they're trying to pull people away from danger, right? They're telling you about the MOTB, right? Revelation 13:16. They're telling you that it's not spiritual, right? That this is a physical thing that's going to happen, right? They're telling you about Jacob's trouble. They're telling you about World War III and the ICBM missiles. They're telling you about when Yahawashi and the angels come, with the chariots, right? With the laser beams and everything else, ready to get down on those who, are disobedient. So they're constantly, trying to keep watch of your soul and give you these edifying words to comfort you, right? And to steer you in the right direction. Call Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? Let's go to the book of Titus, right? Titus 1, and let's start at verse number 9, okay? It says, holding fast the faithful word as he hath been taught, that he may be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and to convince the gainsayers, right? It says, for there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, right? So that's why it's you got to be cautious, because there are some, people of the circumcision, those who, know they're Israelites. You got some other elders out here who, will lead you astray, man. You got some elders out here who will tell you that, the mark is spiritual. They'll tell you, you got some elders, out here who will tell you that the chariots, the so-called UFOs are not the chariots of the Lord. That Yahawashi didn't actually do physical miracles, man. Right? Just off stuff, man. Just totally off stuff. So you got to make sure, you're cleaving to the right elder, and that when you're in the midst of that elder, you have to, also examine and understand that, make sure that they're doing the right thing, and they're constantly, doing that, right? So it says, for there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, right? And you can see that all day. A lot of times, right? You can go on Clubhouse and you can just see that just going on all day. It says, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake, and that's a cold thing, it's a lot of stuff that's going on. It's a lot of white noise amongst the calm and everything that's going on. There's a lot of just fluff that's out there, to kind of get you distracted and to be strayed away from this true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. This true doctrine. And we understand that GMS and the men of GMS, they have that true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They have that true doctrine, man, that 100% doctrine. Yahawashi said that he's going to send a comforter. He shall teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance. So if you don't believe that, we believe that. And we believe that the 100% truth is out there, and we believe that the men of GMS have that, right? Let's go to 1 Peter, right? 1 Peter chapter 5. I'm going to start at verse number 1. It says, the elders which are among you, I exhort, who I also, an elder and a witness of the sufferings of Hamashiach, and also a partaker of the glory that shall be revealed. It says, feed the flock of the Most High, which is among you, right? And these, like I say, man, and I'm not just, just trying to toot the horn, but these elders, man, it's every day I'm amazed, man, through the power and spirit of Yahawashi, man. Call like Yahawah Yahawashi, because they feed the flock and they feed them daily, right? It says, feed the flock of the Most High, which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not of filthy lucre, but of ready mind, right? They don't do it just, man, I got it. No, man, they doing it because they have that spirit, they have that fire on them, that continuous fire that they just continue to feed the sheep. It says neither as being lords over the Most High's heritage, right? It's not like they doing all that. It says, but being an example to the flock, you know, be an example to the flock. Whereas to the point where now, the brethren I labor with, hey, we see the elders getting down on their lessons. Hey, we getting down on our lessons, and then we uplift each other, right? You see a brother going on. I just saw, two of my brothers get on. Hey, I'm getting on now. I'm doing a lesson, right? It says, for that example, it says, and when the chief shepherd shall appear, ye shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away, right? And that chief shepherd is Yahawashi, right? Is Yahawashi, right? So they're doing this to keep the flock going. They're feeding the sheep until the shepherd comes, right? And that shepherd is Yahawashi, and they're constantly feeding. They're making sure that the sheep is good, that they fat, they're not skinny, they're not, malnourished, right? They feed them constantly. They and the thing about it is, like I say, the elders, man, they'll go back to the basics and teach the basics because they know people are still coming in this thing. You got some elders who will tell you, hey, well, just go look at my video from 11 years ago. Like that's when the spirit was on me. Come on, man. The spirit has to constantly be on, and the spirit is constantly on these brothers, man. The Rawchaa Qadash is constantly on the elders of GMS, and they continue to feed the flock, man. It's a beautiful thing, right? Let's go back to the book of Hebrews, right? Hebrews 13, and let's go to verse number 7. It says, remember them which have rule over you, who have spoken unto you the word of the Most High, whose faith follow, considering the end of their conversation. Right, I want to read this in another comparison. Right, it says the GNT, remember your former leaders who spoke the Most High's message to you. Think back on how they lived and died, and imitate their faith. Right. Let's see the MOT. The NLT. It says, remember your leaders who taught you the word of the Most High. Think of all the good that has come from their lives and follow the example of their faith, right? And that's what we're doing. Me and the brothers that I labor with, man, we're seeing, what the elders are doing, Salakia, and we are trying to imitate that, We're trying to imitate that through the power and spirit of Yahawashi. We go out there, we do these lessons, we labor, because these are things that were set as examples for us, and this is why it's good to be in the midst of the elders, to pick up on this. It says, Yahawashi HaMashiach, the same yesterday, today, and forever, right? And the thing about it, right, these elders, they that's what they teach, right? And this is another thing too, man. A lot of these camps, they don't teach Yahawashi. They don't teach Yahawashi, man. They teach law, right? But they don't teach Yahawashi, man. Right? And Yahawashi HaMashiach, the same yesterday and today and forever. They constantly are talking about Yahawashi, and that was one thing too that stood out. It's just like, man, they are constantly talking about Yahawashi, And what does Deuteronomy 18:18 tells you, right? And then when you go in the book of Matthew, it tells you, hear my son, whom I am well pleased. Just paraphrasing, hear ye him, And a lot of people, it went over people's head, and they just continue in the law, And what is Luke? What's that? Luke 16:16 say. It says, the law and the prophets were until John. Since that time, the kingdom of the Most High is preached, and every man presseth into it, right? And that kingdom is the coming of Yahawah Shemiel Shai, right? So until the law and the prophets, right? So Moses, the prophets, Elijah, and all, hey, they were until John came, and John started preaching the repentance and the coming of Yahawashi, you know? So all that was until then, and now it's Yahawashi. It's this faith in Yahawashi, man. You know, and that's a beautiful thing that, you know, I've learned too, you know, by humbling myself and taking heed to the doctrine, you know, of this true 100%, you know, doctrine and this truth, you know. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, and verse number 20. And it reads and says, and though Yahawah Bahasham Rashai give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teacher be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. Right? And we see the teachers, man. They're constantly on the unicorn. Constantly on the unicorn. I'm talking about every day, all day, damn near, right? It says, and thine eyes shall hear a word behind thee, saying, this is the way. Walk ye in it. When you turn to the left, to the right hand, and when you turn to the left, right? And they're directing your path. You know, you get up there, and it's crazy because, you know, me and my brethren, we can kind of see sometimes too that, you know, we're all on one accord, because we'll go out and we'll teach a lesson, you know, and we haven't seen the elders teach, and all of a sudden I watch the elders thing, and some of the same stuff we're talking about, they're talking about, and they're going over. I'm talking about some of the same exact things. One time it was so crazy. We were sitting there and we was talking about something, and my brother Gabar had said something about some gremlins, and I listen. I watched the elders, and all of a sudden they were sitting there talking about, you know, gremlins, and people could think, oh, you know, that's crazy, but no, I mean, it was some real stuff. Like, it's just, it be on point, man. Like they like, it's all that same song that we sing, man. Right? When you do that, when you're in that 100% doctrine and that real truth, right? The song is sung the same, you know, and it's a beautiful thing, right? And like I say, it's wise to be in the midst of the elders, right? So it says your teacher shall not, you know, be removed anymore when you turn to the right hand and when you turn to the left, right? Let's go to the book of Ephesians, right? I'm about to close it out in a second. Ephesians 4 and verse number 10. And it reads, it says, he that descendeth is the same also that ascended up far above all heavens, that he might fill all things, right? Talking about Yahawashi. It says he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists and some pastors and teachers, right? For the perfecting of the saints, for the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of a Mashiach, right? And that's what these brothers is doing, man. These brothers is going out here, they prophesying, they teaching, right? And they're doing all these things for the edifying and the perfecting of the saints. You know, they correct the, you know, some other camps go out, they do a video, you know, rebuking and correcting them and getting on them, you know, to keep the body correct. You know, it's like they're the ones that fight off the disease, man. You know, the disease of the body, man. They attack it, you know, isolate it and get rid of it. You know what I mean? That's what these brothers do, man. Call Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? Let's go to First Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse number 32. And it reads, it says, and the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets, right? So, you know, brothers go out there and prophesy, hey, you know, we're subject to the prophets. You know, that's who we look to. That's who we cling to. You know, when you think about in the book of I believe it's the book of Sirach, you know, it talks about the like kind, right? Birds, you know, they go with their own kind, you know. Salaki, you know what? Let me just read. It says the spirits of the prophets are subject to the prophets, right? It says for the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints, right? So the prophets, you know, are subject to the prophets. They're unto the prophets. They're just, you know, they cleave together, you know. And this is what I want to get. I think it's 13. God. This is Ecclesiasticus, or the book of Sirach, chapter 13 and verse 15. It says, every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. Right? So, you know, if you are, if you prophesy, hey, then you're going to cleave to the prophets. You know, if you're a teacher, you're going to cleave to the teacher. You're going to cleave to those of your like kind, right? It says, every beast loveth his like, and every man loveth his neighbor. All flesh consorteth according to kind, right? So if you righteous and you of the elect, you know, Lord's will, we're part of it, and you're going to cleave to the elect. You know what I'm saying? You're going to cleave to that. It says, and a man will cleave to his like. What fellowship hath the wolf with the lamb, right? And Yahawashi said that, you know, his sheep, we are the sheep, we are the lamb, right? It says, so the sinner with the godly, right? So, you know, when you come into this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right, it's hard to be clinging around, you know, those who continue to partake in the ways of this world, man, right? Because it's like oil and water, man. It doesn't mix. You can shake it up for a little bit, but eventually it's going to separate itself, right? It says, what agreement is there between the hyena and a dog? And what peace between the rich and the poor? As the wild ass is the lion's prey in the wilderness, so the rich eat up the poor, right? And we are the poor, you know, but we are the rich in spirit, you know. But I just wanted to bring that out, kind of, you know, emphasis on that. But let's go back to Ephesians, right? Ephesians 4, and I want verse 14, right? And it says, you know, and that's the thing. It's like because you got to cleave, you know, the prophets are subject to the prophets. So you want to cleave to those who are prophesying, those who are, you know, the teachers and those of the true understanding and the true 100% doctrine. That's who you want to cleave to, right? Because like I said, there are others out there who their ways are not yoked. Their ways are wicked, right? And not according to the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? It says that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness, whereby they lie in wait to deceive, right? And that's what a lot of these, you know, some of these other camps, man, I'm gonna admit, man, that's what they out there doing, man. They're out there deceiving the people, man. You know, it says, but speaking the truth in love, you know, this 100% doctrine, this 100% truth may grow up into him in all things, which is the head, even Hamashiach, right? So, and the thing is, you know, but speaking the truth in love, you know, speaking the truth in love, speaking this true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, man. You know, when they can speak this truth to you, whether you like it or not, you know, the scriptures say what they say, right? And you can't be offended by them. You know, you gotta accept this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and go with it. You know, because it's in love, right? And how else can you get that true understanding? But you eat the whole roll. You know, you got to eat this whole roll, right? It's bitter, it's sweet in your mouth, right? But it was bitter in the belly. You know, some of the stuff that's in there, but it is the truth, and you got to accept it. You know, you got to humble yourself and accept it. I got one more. We're gonna close it out, right? Let's go to the book of Matthew, chapter 7, and let's start at verse number 15. Right? It says a tree, and you see the title says a tree is known by its fruit. So it says Matthew 7 and verse 15. It says, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Right? So they might come in with the Hebrew or the Hebrews of the garment. You know, the damn, down to the feet, and got the fringes, man, damn near 6 inches, with the big blue ribbon around it, you know what I mean, and the arm bands and the headbands, and the big chain, with the manure. Hey, they got all that stuff, right? It says, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Right, so you're gonna know a man by his fruits, right? By his fruits, by the labor, the stuff that he does, right? It says, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit, right? So you're gonna know a man by his fruits, right? You're gonna know if it's good or if it's bad, right? And like I say, me and my brethren, we see, the men at the GMS, the elders and the apostles and elders. Hey, guess what? They're feeding of that good fruit that's good to partake in. That true wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that true doctrine, that 100% doctrine, right? Which is good to eat and partake in. And they're constantly delivering that, right? It says, verse 19, every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire, right? So if you partaking into this fruit that is this evil fruit, that you can get tricked on, hey man, you're headed to the destruction in the fire, man. It says, wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them. By their fruits ye shall know them. And like I keep saying, man, right? And like I say, it's not to, toot the horn, but hey, you got to give double honors, where it is, where it's fit, right? And these brothers of GMS, man, from Tahar on down, man, and they have been, their fruit has been shown. Their fruit, has been sweet to the mouth, and the understanding, man, has been great, and we know them by the fruit, and they continue to bring forth fruit. They're like a well-watered tree that continues to just nourish and feed the sheep, man. So that's why I said, I lessened this title. I titled this lesson, Salakia, stand in the midst of the elders, man. Because if you stand in the midst of the elders, man, you will fare well. You will fare well because you will be partaking in that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Lord's will, he opens and edifies your mind and your heart. So with this, I hope this lesson has been edifying, right? I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. I want to say, Halal, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Peace and blessings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. A mighty shalom to the hopeful elect, man. Stay strong, stay diligent, stay on fire, man. Right? Continue to be an example and to show the example, of how, to be out there, and continue to take that wisdom and knowledge and understanding that you have gained, and to pass it out amongst, freely, to those who will hearken, pray and pray for each other, man. Right? And with that, shalom.